In today's class, we'll start about the basics of programming, okay? Not like in
Okay,
depth, just the basics. Since it's the first time you're doing COBOL, so about basics we'll do.
okay,
Now, first of all, when it comes to programming, okay, first of all, let's talk about this thing called mainframe. And mainframe is the name of the technology, okay? Under
okay,
mainframe, we have few modules, JCL, COBOL, DB2. Basically, if you go to most of the projects, you will see JCL, COBOL, DB2 are there. Now, in all technologies, there is a programming language. So in mainframe, there is a programming language which is called COBOL. Now, in mainframe environment, there are some other programming languages also which are supported. COBOL is there. EasyTree you must have heard. Okay, so few programming languages are there which are supported in mainframe environment. But COBOL is the name of the programming language. If you write a COBOL program and if you keep it, it will not get executed automatically. Okay, if you create a file and create a library, create a member and write a program and keep it, nothing will happen. It has to be implemented in the mainframe server. Then only the changes will be reflected. If you have written a program to generate one output file, read one input file, generate one output file, and in the output file you should be having some certain amount of certain type of data. If you write the code and keep it, nothing will happen. You have to execute the program in the mainframe server. Then only you can check the output file and you will be able to see the data. Now, how will you execute the program? You have to execute it with JCL. So JCL is the executor in mainframe. JCL only executes programs. It is the kind of scripting language through which you will be able to only execute programs. And DB2 is the table concept in mainframe technology. Now you must have heard IMSDB also, IDMS. So these are few databases like Datacom. These are few databases which are there in mainframe environment. In most of the projects, you will get DB2. In some projects, you will see IMSDB openings. Now IMSDB is old database. In some projects, you will see IMSDB also. Okay. Now, why are these three together and how is the mainframe project managed by JCL, COBOL, and DB2? So on a broader, like on a lighter and like kind of brief way, if I try to tell you that if in any project, the final goal of any project is to store the client business data and maintain it. Now to store it, we have to get the data first of all from somewhere. Then only we'll be able to process the data, load the data, and keep it, store it, right? Because if it's a small scale business, you can understand about a small scale business where they must be having their own customized software through which they manage their business data. But if it's a multinational business, when the company is situated in many countries, when the business scale is very big and there are millions of clients, millions of transactions are happening on a daily basis, then a customer's customized simple software is not enough to handle the entire project or entire business. There are many vulnerabilities with a software. It is not able to handle that much big scale business. For that, we need technology first of all. So mainframe is one technology. With Java, the projects can be handled. With big data projects can be handled. Okay, there are many things. Now, whenever we say that we will store the client business data, we have to get the data from somewhere. So if there is a bank which is situated in America, okay, on a daily basis, the transactions that are going on, the data will be sent to us. It's a realistic scenario. From morning 9 to suppose 3 p.m., the business time goes on in the bank in America. Now, whatever data is processed or that whatever transactions are carried out, all the data will be sent to us through mainframe files. Okay. And who will send us the data? The client themselves, or some agencies will be there, some third parties will be there, or some upstream applications will be there who will send us the data in the night or in the midnight. Then those data will be processed through our COBOL DB2 programs, which we have already written and we have already placed in production region, through which the data will be processed. Some data will be accepted, some will be rejected, some will be accepted with warnings, and data will be finally loaded. Where will it be loaded? It will be loaded in tables. So the table concept comes under DB2. So we have written the COBOL DB2 programs. This program is present in production region. The file comes. This this JCL is invoked. This JCL executes this COBOL DB2 program. Data is processed, and from the COBOL DB2 program, some output files are also generated. Maybe data is stored in DB2 in output file. We might be having this kind of reports like how many records rejected, how many records accepted, how many records accepted with warnings, and will be sent to the client back that these are the data we accepted, these are the data we rejected for this reasons. Okay, this is how overall the business will run. So JCL is the scripting language, you can say, which will execute a COBOL program, and DB2 is the table concept where the data will be stored. Now, any doubt till here?
No, till now there is no doubt
No, it's
for me.
it's clear.
It's
Okay.
clear. It's clear. It's clear. Yeah, you
Now
can move forward here.
there are two types of programs. When we say JCL executes programs, there are two types of programs. Okay, there are two types of programs. One is called system defined programs. One is called user defined programs. Now, system defined programs are also called utilities, and user defined programs are COBOL programs. Now, system defined programs are the programs you must have heard about these programs: IABR14, IB Jenner, IB Copy, IDCAM, Sort, ISTOOL. There are some utilities which were created by the company which created mainframe, IBM. Some utilities were created by IBM themselves itself, and these utilities have some codes actually. These are also programs. They have some source code, and each and every utility was created to execute some specific tasks only. So IABR14 is one utility, IB Jenner is one utility, IB Copy is one utility, ID Cams is one utility, then Sort, then IB Edit, then ISTOOL. Like this, we have many utilities. Now, each utility has a specific task to do. If you execute any IBR14 utility, it will either create or delete files. IB General will copy data from one file to another file. IB Copy will copy members from one PDS to another PDS. IDCAMs can do a lot of different things. Sort can copy data from one file to another file with a lot of filters. IB Edit can execute the steps in a JCL from another JCL. iStool also can do a lot of things in PS files. So these codes were written, and these codes were already installed in mainframe, are already installed in mainframe. If you go to any project in the world, these programs you can directly use. You don't need the source code because you can't see the source code. These are already installed. But there is one more type of program which is called user defined. User defined program means COBOL programs. So who will write the COBOL programs? We as developers will write the COBOL program. When will we write? When the requirement will come. Now, COBOL program we have to write in some libraries. So you know library or PDS file.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, PDS file. Yeah, we know.
So
PDS file will it will contain some members, right?
yeah. For JCL we'll have a JCL library. For COBOL we'll have a COBOL library. For each component we'll have separate libraries in our project. Okay. Now, when if I write a program, COBOL program, I will keep it inside a library. When you write a COBOL program, will keep inside the same library, or you can create your own library. Most of the times we have our own generic library only in our project. We don't have separate lab. We don't actually create. You can create also, no problem. So all these programs are written in kept inside PDS libraries. Now all these programs are written based on the requirement that we get from the client side. The codes will be different, and the codes can be modified anytime. The difference between a COBOL program and the system-defined program is you cannot modify the code of this IABR14 IB General, but you can modify the code of COBOL program anytime because you have the source code. You can modify anytime. Okay. Now to execute these system-defined programs, you can use the JCL. You can put step name exact PGM equal to this program name, and you can execute. You don't have to provide the location for this program because the program is already present in the system. But when you execute COBOL program, you have to provide the location of the program where the program is present in the system. Okay. because in a mainframe system there can be hundreds of libraries. I have created one library, you have created, suppose there are 100 libraries. How will the system know from which library this program has to be picked? Now we can say that, okay, the system can scan through all the libraries. Now, what if out of 100 libraries, 5 libraries have the same program, like program with the same name? The codes are different inside, but with the name COBOL, there are 5 programs in 5 different libraries. Then how will the system know which one has to be picked? That is why to while executing a COBOL program, we have to provide the location also where the code is currently present. But while executing this, we don't need to. Now, when you execute a system defined program with a JCL, you can directly execute it because the code is already present and it's present in the executable format in the system. It's already present in executable format. But when you try to execute a COBOL program, you have to first of all convert this program into its executable format. Okay. Now, what is its executable format? When you write a COBOL program, it is called source code. Okay. We write identification division, environment division, program ID, sorry, data division, procedure division. All these language we generally write in English language. So this is called source code. So that code the mainframe system does not understand, and so it cannot execute that code directly. So we have to convert this program into its object code. We have to convert this program into object code. Now, how to convert this process is called compilation. So you write a COBOL program, you save it inside a library, then you have to first compile the program. What is the meaning of compilation? To convert the source code into object code. This object source code is not executable. This object code is executable. That is why we have to compile it. Now, how will you compile? With a JCL. With the help of a JCL, we have to compile this COBOL program and we have to convert into its object code. Object code is also called load module. It's also called load module. Now, to compile or to compile a COBOL program and to convert it into a object code, we have to use one utility that is called IGYCRCTL. This is a similar utility like these utilities whose code is already installed in the program. If you use this utility, it will always convert the COBOL program into its object code or load module. It has nothing else to do. So first process is compilation with the help of a JCL. The JCL will use IGYCRCTL. You have to keep the program name as input and it will compile the program. It will create an object code with the same name as the source code. Okay. Now there is another process that is called link edit. So inside this compilation JCL only, you will see there is one more step. So in the compilation JCL, there will be 2 steps. First step will have IGYCRCTL. Second step will, with the help of the same JCL, utility will be IEWL or WB something similar kind of utility. There are a few utilities with the help of which you can do link edit. Now link edit in a light lighter sense, if I say that while doing a compilation, what it does, the program does is, the JCL does is, it converts the source code in object code and link edit makes the object code executable. So there are 2 processes. This is the broader, I mean, in brief, if I say, okay. Later on, you'll understand more about this compilation and link edit process. So inside the same compilation JCL, we have 2 utilities. One is IGYCRCTL, one is IEWL. IGYCRCTL will convert this source code into object code. IEWL will convert this object code into its equivalent format, will make it equivalent. Now this equivalent code will be kept inside a load library. It will be kept inside load library, okay?
Library means
One second.
hello.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
See, load library is another library. First, we have source library where we have the source code. After the source code is modified into its object code, load object code will be kept in load library. So two libraries you have to create. One is where you will write the source code. One is where you will write the where the load module or object code will be created after compilation. Second process is called execution. So this program you had compiled, the same program you have to execute now with the help of a GCL. Any doubts still here?
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. Like first, we have to convert like the source code into object code through one JCL,
Hmm.
and again we have to convert or what? Like again we have to use another JCL for execution, right? Two times JCL.
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay,
Hmm.
okay.
So,
And one more thing, like
hmm,
during compilation process, you are saying with the help of JCL, right? But
hmm,
in project level, people are using many
tools.
version control tools, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
tools, right?
Yeah. So in some projects there will be compilation through version control tools. In some projects there will be compilation through JCLs. In some projects there will be compilation through some other tools. So it totally depends on the project. So there is
Okay.
no
So
hard and
can
fast rule everywhere. Huh?
okay, okay. So can you like in detail, like can you explain about version control? Not now, like in later classes or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, sure, sure. I'll explain.
Okay, 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 okay. Yeah. Apart
So
from this, it's clear
basically,
for me.
yeah, yeah. So
Hmm.
basically two JCLs. One is called compilation JCL. Here you will understand it better way. First one is compilation JCL. So compilation JCL has two steps. First step is IGYCRCTL utility, which will what it will do? It will convert source code to object code. Next step is IEWL, which will do the link edit, and it will make object code executable. You can understand it this way. This is the first JCL.
Yes, yes.
There will be second JCL.
Yes.
This is called execution JCL. Here, object code will be executed. Now, just few minutes back, I said that whenever there is a utility, if you try to execute it, you don't have to provide the location while executing. You can directly write the program name and execute it because it is already there in the system installed in executable format. But if it's a COBOL program, you have to provide the location of the program also where the program is present. There you have to provide the load library name because there may be hundreds of load libraries in your project. And in many libraries, there may be programs with same names. How will the system know which one to pick? That is why you have to in execution JCL, you have to mention the program name and also you have to mention the library name from where it has to be picked. Then only it will pick the correct program, it will execute it, and it will finally display the results, give the results to you, and you can see it. Got it? Understood it?
Yes, yes. Clear, clear.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Now, in a JCL, since you know JCL, when you open a JCL, you see these things: job name, two slashes, then job names, then some parameters, right? Some numbers, then some within single quote,
Mhm.
something is written, then class, message
Yeah.
class. If you have noticed message level and
Yes,
all of
yes,
that,
yes.
then you have exact DD. So those are all parameters of a JCL. A JCL is for just in a JCL formation, these parameters are required. Job, exec, DD, these three are mandatory parameters. Job has many parameters, exec has many parameters, DD has many parameters. Similarly, for the formation of a COBOL program, we have divisions. We don't have positional or keyword parameter. Here we have divisions. We have four divisions. Identification division is the first one. Then we have environment division. Then we have data division. Then we have procedure division. These four divisions we have in a COBOL program. You have to understand the divisions well to understand a COBOL program in a better way. Now, identification division will always identify the program. What is the name of the program? Who wrote the program? On which date was written? On which date was compiled? For which client is it being written? All these things. And this identification division is a mandatory parameter. Mandatory parameter. This is mandatory, okay? In every COBOL program, you have to write identification division, and it will be the first line of every COBOL program. Okay? It will be the first line of every COBOL program. It's mandatory. It has basically five parameters. One is called, okay, one more thing. After each line of a COBOL program, you have to give dot. Now, this dot is called period. It is not called full stop or dot. In COBOL terms, it's called period. You have to use always this term, okay? Period. Identification division, period. Then identification division has few parameters. Program ID. This is one parameter. Now, program ID means what is the name of the program? You have to write it this way. Program hyphen ID period space name of the program. Suppose name of the program is COBOL PGM. Then one more period. This program ID is again mandatory line. You have to write it in every program. Got it? After this, we have author. Author means who has written the program. Like author of a book, who has written the book, like that. Now, author after author also give dot period. Then if I write Jahangir, author is not mandatory. If you don't write also in a COBOL program, it's fine. Then we have date written, then date compiled, then finally we have installation. Installation. Now date written means on which date was written. Suppose I'll give today's date 01/29 dot, and it was compiled today only. Suppose 01/29 dot. Installation is suppose Bank of America, for example. Just writing. Now program ID is mandatory. Author is not mandatory. Date written not mandatory. Date compiled not mandatory. Installation not mandatory. Now in these places, program ID, author, the values, okay. In place of COBOL PGM, you write something else by mistake. In place of this, something else. In place of this date, something else. Here, something else. The program will not fail. It will not even give compilation error. These are all for basic information about the program. There are many things which are mentioned, which are maintained in a COBOL program. When you write a COBOL program, suppose this you are writing for the first time, it's a new program you are writing from scratch. It should have all the details about when it was written by whom. Now, since these four parameters are not mandatory, it is not that we don't write them. Here, for testing purpose, you can ignore. But in real time, we always mention all the parameters for maximum information. Okay. Now, each and every COBOL program starts from eighth position. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, wait, like this will do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. From here, the COBOL programs will start. In JCL, when you open a JCL, you can see the first two positions are slashes, right? So it starts from first position, but COBOL programs don't start from first position. It always starts from eighth position. I'll tell you there are a few more things here. Now identification division is done. Now will come environment division. So environment division is a division where we will define the files. If we are using any file in our program, we will define that in environment division. Okay. Data division is something, if we are using any file in our program, we have to define data division. If we are using any variable, or if we are linking two programs, or if we are passing data from on JCL and the data is being accepted in COBOL program, we have to use data division. Procedure division is the division where we will write the actual business logic. Okay. Environment division is not mandatory. It can be only used whenever there is a file concept in a program. You are using some files. If you are not using any file in a program, you can ignore environment division. Data division is something In environment division, sorry, in environment division, we define the files because a COBOL program cannot directly interact with a file. Okay, it cannot directly interact with the files. For example, if you write a file, if you define a file, you have to write input output section file control, under which you have to define a file like this. Suppose select in file assign to dd1. This will look little complicated for you for now. So for example, there is a file, input file. What you have to do is through a COBOL program, you have to read the data of the input file and you have to copy the data into one output file. This is the requirement, okay? Read the data from the file, create an output file and copy the data there. Now there are two files, one is input, one is output. The thing is the COBOL program cannot interact with the files directly like JCLs do. What a JCL does, a JCL can directly interact with a file, input file also, output file. So how? You open a JCL, you write the code, you give an input file, you give an output file. It interacts, right? It directly interacts with the files. But the COBOL cannot do. COBOL always interacts with the files via JCL. So here inside file control, you have to define the files and how it is mapped. So there are two files. I will write two lines. Now here I have written, whenever you map these files like this, you have to always write environment division, input output section, file control. Inside file control, for all files you have to write, for each file there will be one line, okay? There are more parameters we'll get later on, but for now, select in file assigned to dd1. The meaning of this is the name. If you open a JCL, you see these dd names, right? dd1, dddsn equal to file name, dd2, dddsn. So when you execute this program, during execution, not during compilation, during execution of the program, you have to write the file names in the JCL. And through the DD names, suppose the input file DD name was DD1, it is mapped to infile. That means the file name whose DD name is DD1 in the JCL will be called as infile in the program. The file name whose DD name is DD2 in the JCL will be called as outfile in the program. This is how you're mapping. So the data from the physical file, suppose test.input via JCL through the DD name DD1 will come to infile, and the data from outfile it will go to DD2, and via DD2 it will go to the output file in the JCL test.output.ps. Suppose this is how it will work. Mapping is going on here. Any doubt?
No, no, no. Yes, clear. It's clear.
Now inside data division, there is something called file section. Inside file section, you have to define the structure of the files. Now the structure will come later on. There are many things there. So for now, you have defined the files here. You have to define the structure. Define the structure as in what is the length of the file, what is the type of the file, whether it's alphanumeric data will be stored, whether alphabetic data will be stored, or whether numeric data will be stored. What is the name of the data? What are the various fields under it? Suppose there is a file. Suppose first 10 bytes are name, then second, then 5 bytes are salary, like that. All those data structure will be defined under file section. Then inside procedure division we will write the actual business logic. So inside procedure division, whatever we write except for few scenarios, we always write from 12th position, 9, 10, 11, 12. Display, suppose I'll write hello world. So inside procedure division, whatever you write except for few scenarios, it will always start from 12th position. Inside procedure division we always write the business logics. Remaining all these things, all are for identifiers. In identification division, we identify the basic things about the program. In environment division, we define the files. In data division, we define the structure of the files, or if we are using any variable, we define the variables. If we are linking two programs, we define it in data division. If we are accepting data from a JCL, we define in a data division. Procedure division is mandatory. Identification division and procedure division are mandatory in a COBOL program. Inside procedure division, we always write our COBOL business logics, which we are supposed to write. So here till here you have written. Now you have to stop the program by writing something called stop run. When you write stop run, it will pass the control back to the operating system and the program will stop. So stop run should always be the last line of a program. This is a basic program and this is how a basic program will look like. Did you understand?
Yes, yeah, very much.
Yeah, yes.
Only that data division, like while doing practical, we can able to know, I guess, that
Yeah, yeah, that
variables
time you'll
and the
understand better.
things. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, okay. Yeah, divisions is clear.
Okay. The call will get disconnected. You can rejoin.
Okay, okay. So